Hey there, it's Jim and Debbie with another episode of the Midday Minute. Debbie, this is episode 23 of the big show.
We're getting old.
I never saw us, I didn't see us getting to 23, to be honest. I didn't think we'd make it out of the single digits.
Look at us.
And now here we are putting out new episodes every week, Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah, we're becoming experts at this.
That seems charitable, but we're doing the best we can, as everybody is right now in these weird times.
Right.
So one person who did a really great job last week commenting on the episode is our winner, our contest winner.
And who is our contest winner, Jim?
It's Bull Taco.
Bull Taco. All right.
Bull has been commenting for a while now, and it is finally his or her chance to shine. Bull, can I call you Bull? Please comment below and tell us how you would like to apply the $50 soft credit of your to an ENF funded program of your choice. Now, and let us know who you are. And also, now that assumes that Bull Taco is not your real name. Maybe it is. Right. I apologize if that's the case. But assuming there is another name, let us know what your name is. Tell us what lodge you're from so we can properly credit that gift.
Congratulations, Bull Taco.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Now, all he did, Debbie, was comment on last week's episode with the hashtag ENF Midday, one word.
So easy.
You do that. If you comment on this episode, tell us what you think about it. You'll have an opportunity to win a $50 soft credit next week. Right?
Right. Couldn't be easier.
Hey, you know what else can be easier right now?
What's that?
Getting a gratitude grant. Since April 1st, those things went live April 1st, we've approved more than 570 already.
I'm so impressed, right? And we also just posted to elks.org/ENF an infographic that captures what lodges did in the first 30 days. So in April, the 500 plus that we approved, more than $1 million, and how that money has been allocated by the lodges. Spoiler alert, a lot of food pantries, which is hunger is a big need in communities across the country, and that is what lodges are using their money for. So congratulations to that.
Got a link right up here. Go check that article out. That's awesome. It's lodges are they're no longer on the sidelines. They're out there putting our money to work in their communities to help people affected by the pandemic.
Right. It's heartening to know about and to see. Elks always care. Also, if you're following that hashtag along on our social media platforms, really great to see people in their masks, social distancing, but still delivering food to people who need it.
Our communications teams love telling the stories of what Elks are doing anyway,
right.
But that's never been more true than it is right now. And people, right, I think, really want to see those stories.
Absolutely. We're home, people are stressed out or anxious or nervous about what's going on. And it's great to read those stories and to know what our Elks are doing across the country.
That's right. Now I understand there's going to be a big SIP announcement on Friday.
Right.
You couldn't score a scoop for us, Debbie.
Nope, couldn't do it.
All right. Well, we'll talk about it next week on the show. But if
yeah.
people want to know, if they don't want to wait until next Wednesday to hear the news, where can they go?
They can go to elks.org/SIP and they will be able to see, probably check the spotlight grants and see what's going on.
That's
for
exciting,
June 1st.
everybody.
Yeah.
Big news coming down the pike. You know where else you can find stories, Debbie?
Where's that, Jim?
Speaking of stories, as we were a moment ago, at our blog, Elks National Foundation blog.org. I've been writing a series about what lodges can do to stay relevant during the pandemic. And I am working on a story right now about Ferndale Lodge, which should post this week sometime.
Ferndale, Michigan, right?
That is correct. And, to find out exactly where Ferndale is, why don't we call on our good friend, Kate Keating Edsey. Here she comes.
There she comes.
Kate.
Hello.
Hello, Kate.
Welcome to the Midday Minute. It's the first time for you, right?
It is. Thank you for having me.
So we were just talking about a story I'm writing for the ENF blog about Ferndale Lodge. We know it's in Michigan, but we don't know where in Michigan. And since you're a Michigander, perhaps you could show us.
Don't be jealous because you don't get to show people where you're from. I'm here. So I'm from right about here. And Ferndale's just about 20 minutes away, and they do call it fashionable Ferndale.
Fashionable.
Oh.
Nice, nice. Now, what do we refer to that as, Kate? What's it called?
Mitten,
And also,
America's
America's.
High Five.
That's right, America's High Five. And you're in America's High Five as we speak, right?
I am. We left the city for some easier social distancing. So I am right here, just 90 minutes away from you guys.
There you are.
Okay. So, Kate, the reason we wanted to have you on the show is normally around this time of year, you join us on our podcast to look forward to convention and what people can expect from the ENF at convention.
Right. A little bit different this year.
Right. We just heard the news on Friday that convention won't be happening. We won't. It's been canceled. So we thought it'd be nice to bring you on the show and talk about what we plan to do about that.
Well, it is a bummer. We all kind of felt like that was coming. I mean, the number of meetings across the country that have been canceled. I think I read 83 million attendees have had to change their plans. But the good thing, the silver lining here is that we do have all these tools just like this that we can use to hopefully meet and provide some kind of experience. The hard part about what we do, I think, is working at a distance. So we, if we're lucky, get to see Elks 3 to 5 times a year. And even that is a very small percentage of the membership. So to cancel any of these experiences, it's a real blow, not just to the people who get to go to convention, but our whole staff gets into it. It really is all hands on deck. So it's disappointing. I'm very disappointed that we won't get to go. Always a great experience for me and for our team, certainly. But we're gonna make lemons out of this lemonade and hopefully be able to provide an experience from home.
Well, convention is a lot of work for us. The planning is a grind, and that week is a bit of a grind too. It's a lot of work, and I certainly won't miss the beating that my feet take on those convention center surfaces, which are the same wherever you are. But you know, I've met friends. I've been going to convention every year since 1992, and I've met people who I only see once a year at convention.
Right.
And it's like every year, it's like, you know, it's a reunion. That's what we used to call conventions, our reunions. And that's so true, because you're seeing people you see once a year, you strike up the friendship. It's like, you know, it's like you pick up where you left off. And
Right.
I'm going to miss seeing those people.
I am too. And I feel like, especially with our volunteers and our donors, it's just so great. The number of people that we connect with at our booth or with our seminars, and people come up, everyone from people who have been for 30 years and know everything there is to know, to people who come up and say, hey, what's ENF? Can I learn all about that? So for us to lose that opportunity is difficult, certainly. And to lose that connection again when we don't get to see people as often as we'd like. So hopefully, I know there are people that are taking advantage of some of these digital channels, especially with what you've written about staying relevant, using Zoom, things like that. So I'm hopeful that there's some space for that, for our abbreviated convention.
So I'll just say, point out that, you know, Kate heads up our meetings team at the foundation, but that's just one hat that she wears. And so we don't have the luxury. We have got a staff of 18 currently, and we're all spread pretty thin. And we have a team of 4 of us who meet. When do we start usually planning for convention?
Well, I start planning for convention pretty much the day that we leave the previous convention. And then in September, that's when things really heat up. So we were pretty full steam ahead September, the rest of the fall, and then into, it's live, and then into the early part of the year. And then once things got a little hairy, we did take a step back and pause a little bit on it, but certainly we have contracts, we have things that we've signed and planned and done and made arrangements for. So it's definitely disappointing.
We try not to do anything too cookie cutter. So though there's a similar format every year for a convention, right? We try to do stuff that's pretty unique to that city. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm really sad that that we're not going to be together for that reunion. But I also feel like the worst case scenario is turned into a best case scenario, that we can use technology, like Kate was saying, to at least try to host seminars and our workshops and interviews, things like that we wouldn't necessarily have thought we'd be able to do even a few years back.
For sure.
Well, where I was going before I was interrupted by that real world example of what we're all trying to deal with now as we work from home is that, we're spread pretty thin. We don't have the luxury of like contingency planning, right? And so we certainly knew it was a possibility the convention wasn't going to happen on July 5th to 8th. But there was a chance it was going to happen. There was also a chance it would be postponed in the fall. We weren't sure what was going to happen, so we sort of pressed pause. And we're eagerly awaiting the May 15th decision so that we could move forward with our planning. That came a week earlier, which was fortunate, give us a little bit more time. But although we've been thinking about different possibilities, we first started talking about it yesterday, Monday. So we got a little bit of work to do. But let's kick around a few things we've been talking about for our viewers, and then we'll promise that we will continue to keep you all in the loop. We'll check in with Kate periodically over the next few weeks as we formulate a plan.
I have a lot of work to do. Well, as you mentioned, we did start discussing this yesterday. We have thought about some things. Thankfully, I've gotten to take part in a few professional development opportunities from home to hear about what other organizations, associations are doing in lieu of meeting face-to-face. So that's been helpful. And I think we're going to be able to use some of those things that we've learned and the things that we've done in the past. We have done webinars, meetings online, things like that. So using those along with some of the newer things, first of all, Zoom, which has been really great. We also have a YouTube channel and the ability to go live, which is great. And a lot of organizations don't have that. So that's something that we definitely have behind us along with Facebook Live. So what I'm hoping we can do is kind of integrate all of these different methods, do a little bit of live things, recorded things, different types of learning. There definitely is Zoom fatigue. If you've been on a lot of these calls, you probably know that, but, and it's different. It's a different environment to sit here. And
well, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to do some workshops in
True.
Zoom that can be interactive. There's also opportunities to do panel discussions like we're doing now, which we then stream live over YouTube so people can watch that. How about one? I think everybody always talks about one of the highlights of convention each year is when our scholars, our top 2 scholarship winners, get on stage at opening ceremony and blow everybody away, right? Any chance something like that can happen?
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to talk to our top 2 winners, Sarah Harper from Tennessee and Santiago Avila from California, and we are going to interview them probably very much in a format like this. But we're also going to see if, once our planning gets in place, if we can get them to come on live so that people from the comfort of their home would be able to tune in and see that what they have to say and to feel really great about our support of these, young people going on to these colleges and doing great things. So I'm looking forward to that as an opportunity.
Kate, what about the donor event? That's also another highlight of convention every year, right?
The donor event is one of my favorite days of the year for sure. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it is a recognition benefit for the Foundation Fellowship for those who donate at the $1,000 level annually or above, and our John F. Malley Society members as well. And we bring this group together, and there are people who've been there every year since I started who care so much about the foundation, and they come to convention and they just want to celebrate, and we use that opportunity to thank them. So it's difficult that we're not going to be able to provide that benefit this year. We're looking at an alternate to that and hoping that we can still get this group together, thank them, whether it's a little entertainment or something that we can kind of all do together from home. we definitely still want to reach out to them and not lose that connection, which again is that wonderful part about meeting face to face that just isn't possible this year.
Yeah, and I know that you guys were working together on doing something new this year at convention. We were going to bring in, new to us, we were going to bring in the state hoop shoot directors for some training.
Right. We let them know today, in case they hadn't heard, that the convention was canceled, but that we're going to do something in terms of training and outreach, maybe not the weekend, first weekend of July, but during the summer at some point. And then, of course, we don't just do our training and education during convention, right? We do that all year long. So we'll be rolling out some other things as well for the state directors. But again, we were super excited about the inaugural state directors training, and we'll try to get that going and push that to Tampa for 2021.
I suppose one silver lining in all of this is we're not necessarily confined anymore to that first week in July, right? We can do this on our time frame, and we also don't have to cram it into a week if we don't want to, although there is some appeal to doing that, right, Kate?
Right. I think, we had talked briefly yesterday about people have taken this time off, or they've blocked it off on their calendar. So with everything changing, maybe they still do have it open to have time to do that. But with, I think, some of the virtual experiences that we're talking about, we could record them, we could offer them at different times of the day, and we could really reach different audiences. The thing that I'm excited about is really that opportunity to reach people who don't come to convention. So as much work as we put into it, as great as it is, there's such a small percentage of the membership who travel to convention every year. So maybe through this virtual platform, we'll be able to reach more people, invite more, like you mentioned about the speeches, almost everyone I hear from, that's the highlight, that's their takeaway. Certainly with the opening ceremonies and hearing those scholars speak. So now, yeah, we've recorded it and we've made it public for years, but this could be something much different that, maybe one night you invite your family that you're quarantining with, make some popcorn, sit on the couch and listen to these scholars and learn something about their experience with the Elks National Foundation and the order. So I think in that way, the schedule presents a great opportunity to bring more people into the fold, hopefully.
Any other questions from you, Debbie?
No questions from me. I'm just, like I said, I'm excited that we actually have the opportunity to connect on another level, right? It's not going to be the same as face-to-face, but we're going to continue to do what we do, just in a very different format this year.
Sure.
This year.
It's also nice that the uncertainty is now gone. We know, okay, this is what's happening or what's not happening, and now what are we going to do about it? At least we can start moving forward. That holding pattern we had been in was uncomfortable for all of us, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it lets people decide how to move forward. And, we just decided yesterday that we have to start talking about how to move forward. So I'm excited. I'm, again, very disappointed to all those Maryland, DC, Delaware Elks and everyone who was looking forward to crab cakes and Baltimore this summer. It is a disappointment, but we'll be back there in 28, which is great. And again, we'll make the best of the situation like we do as Elks, and we will hopefully look forward to some great programming online and things that we can all do together.
And I'm also all about looking for silver linings, and in 2028, maybe the Baltimore Orioles will be a much better baseball team.
I think they're hopeful as well.
All right. Well, Kate, thanks for joining us on the show. Again, we'll check in with you periodically to update our viewers on what's happening and what we're planning for our virtual convention.
I better get to work.
All right.
Bye, Kate.
Talk to you later,
Thank you.
Kate. Yeah, thanks. All right. Well, it was good hearing from Kate. Been a while since, she's never been on Minute, but like I said, she used to be a semi-regular on the podcast. One of these days, maybe we'll record another one.
Yeah, we should. We could get our headphones and just put aside an hour and chat. But speaking of Midday with the ENF, what did you used to call Kate when she would come on in advance of convention?
I believe it wasn't me. It was some of our people someone wrote into the mailbag and described her voice as like listening to a bag of cats.
I hard disagree with that. Hard disagree. She has a lovely voice.
As I recall, it was submitted on it was typed on white paper, unsigned.
It's the way people like to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we kind of covered that there is a silver lining in all of this, right? And we will make the best of it. And I've said, I am sad, and I'm not going to not feel, I feel okay about being sad. And I think people should feel okay about being disappointed that we are not going to be together. It is sad, but we are all in this together. And it is for everyone's health and safety that decision was made. And we'll press pause on being together this year, and we're going to do some cool things in a virtual situation to connect with our family, our Elks family.
Now, to those of you watching, this was kind of a lot to digest, but comment below and use the hashtag ENF Midday so you'll be entered into our contest. But comment below with what you would like to see happen from convention. What do you want us to do? What would you like the order to do? What do you want to see carry on? What don't you want to see?
Yeah.
Why don't you share your opinions, and we will take it into consideration.
There's so much creativity out there, right? There's so much creativity. So hearing what our viewers have to say would be great.
Okay. So if you've liked this video, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Either way, feel free to share it. Comment below. Subscribe if you're not subscribing already, and tap that bell so you'll be notified every time we post new content. Debbie, any final words?
Be safe, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Bye.
Bye.